She had a third party who has
Mhm.
nothing to do with this come to the house, call me and say, I love your house. I want to rent it.
All right. Let's have Mr. Oben and Ms. Cobb go ahead and unmute for me. All right, both of you raise your right hand for me. You swear or affirm to tell the truth under penalty and perjury of the law.
I do.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so Mr. Oben, tell me, do you have a written lease or does the company have a written lease, Hawkeye, with Ms. Cobb?
Yes, Your Honor. We do have a written lease.
All right, is the lease, when is it set to expire or is it month to month?
The lease is a 12-month lease, which is set to expire on the 28th of February, 2026.
And how much is monthly rent?
$1,500.
Is there any late fee?
Late fee is $100.
Last time tenant paid rent?
December 5th or 6th, thereabout, 2025.
I do notice on your complaint, you did not ask for any future rent. Is she still in possession of the property?
As far as we are concerned, she's still in possession of the property.
Beyond January's rent, and if I were to give a writ of possession, that would then mean 5 days in February. Is there anything else that you're looking for other than court costs?
We'll be looking for a breach of lease. So she will be responsible for the remainder of the lease.
Well,
So
we
she
wouldn't
will-
be dealing with that here. That's something totally separate. There are various things that are associated with that. We're only dealing with at most 7 days from the date of today. So January and 5 days in February. So I'll look at that. All right, Ms. Cobb, I'm going to ask you some questions. Ms. Cobb, just confirm, is your rent $1,500 a month?
Yes, Your Honor.
You have a written lease that is set to expire in February of 26?
That's correct.
All right. And late fee of $100 to your knowledge?
Yes.
All right. Last payment, it was in December of 26?
December 4th, 2020, December 4th of 2025.
No. Okay, yeah, that's right. And tell me what's going on. Why have we have any rent paid in January?
Mr. Obink has been made aware. He actually made me aware early on, but I was not familiar with this type of situation. When I signed my lease, he did mention something as far as the plumbing, but I was under the impression that everything, he said that a previous tenant had something, it's in a video because I recorded the home, issues with the plumbing. So then as time went on, the first week of me being there was probably maybe 5 days, the home flooded. The showers, things, and this is a 2-level home. My kitchen flooded multiple times. My daughter fell. I notified him. I sent him videos. There was no remediation or anything done following up after this. I just did personal cleaning myself. But obviously there was so much water I wasn't able to. As the lease went on throughout the, duration of the lease, I experienced gnats. Not being familiar with mold, I didn't know much about that. Multiple things, mold just kept showing up. So in November on the 18th, I reached out and I sent him a photo and I said, hey, Pete, are you able to get this taken care of? I have mold. Can you get this taken care of as soon as possible? He then sends me a Walmart remedy. At that point, I then said, this is an ongoing issue. I've cleaned mold multiple times throughout this, this lease. I've had multiple floods, been made you aware. So I paid rent in December, just thinking that maybe this would possibly push him to maybe probably try to, get it rectified. I continue to keep reaching out to him, sending him multiple photos. I even asked to get out of the lease because of the mold. So when he did not, at that point, I reached out. I had a mold inspection done myself because I continued to send him pictures. He kept denying it. He never stepped foot in the property, still to this day. I've given opportunity. I've reached out, hey, can you please come out and inspect this? So I paid $495 out of my pocket to get inspection done. It was deemed inhabitable and contaminated with mold and water intrusion. So then at that point, I was referred to contact code enforcement. Code enforcement came out and wrote multiple violations for plumbing, water lines, water fixtures, vents, and organic growth, which is mold. I sent this to him when court was postponed. I reached out to him. I sent him the mold inspection. I also sent him a day after I sent him the code violation that I was given by the code officer because he dropped it off to me. He didn't have Pete's information. I sent it to Pete the next day. That's when he put out the eviction. And I asked him, are you going to get this resolved? I even was like, hey, it was somebody that came by. I said, can you see possibly her moving in? But I said, are you going to rectify this mold because it's so bad? And still to this day, he won't. Even after court last Tuesday when it was postponed, I texted and said, hey, whenever you're able to, can we just, get this taken care of? I'm okay with that. Then he told me he was keeping my deposit. So that's where we're at. I've sent multiple photos of Mo, videos of Mo. He was aware of the floods that took place, but it got to a point where it was like, I keep cleaning Mo. I have asthma. I have a child. You know, I've been more than patient with you. I've given you grace, and he just seems to be only worried about the money, and I don't believe it. It's not about the money. I've always paid my rent on time, but it was just more so a point where it became to a point where it wasn't, my health was at stake. The home was considered inhabitable. Mold just kept popping up. I tried my best to clean it, but it was obvious that it was a more deeper issue, which was due to the water intrusion, the plumbing, and mold just kept growing from it.
I got you. All right. And then, Mr. Obing, what is your response to these allegations about mold and water intrusion and code enforcement violations?
So, Your Honor, this is all pretextual. She is frankly lying. She sent me a photo of a mold growth in a cabinet in a kitchen and on the shelf in the kitchen cabinet. And I recommended that, get some, here's some mold treatment that you can do. You can spray it in the cabinet and clean it. She refused to do so. But prior to this, she's already informed me, like in the summertime, that she intends to move closer to her daughter's school. And so, she was not going to renew. So, that's fine, no problem. But I believe that after she secured, somebody made a good deal somewhere, and after that, then she tried to make these allegations about mold and all this stick. Again, what she's considering a flood was a situation where she hooked up her washing machine, and when she ran the washing machine, there was a backup from the water discharge. I got the plumbing company Royal Flush out there. They did a thorough investigation of the plumbing system. They said they saw some root growth. They removed it. Cost me $1,115 to get it resolved. That was back in March.
When was that?
Sorry. That was back in March. You want me to show you this? I submitted in my evidence, Your Honor.
I got
But
it.
this is I think the camera is backwards. I apologize.
No, you're fine. So honestly, I'm looking at the documents that were sent, and my concern is that there is a code enforcement violation letter to you or citations that were issued, and specifically regarding mold growth on January 7th. Tell me about that.
Sure. I have not received any official letter of citations.
Mm-hmm.
She did send a picture. When I posted the stuff, she kind of mocked me, put a thing on there and sent a picture, and I wasn't sure what that was. So on the 26th, I got an email from Mr. King with a letter stating that a warning or something about that. So I called him. In fact, I called him this morning to ask him, how did you, what is going on here? And he said, well, your tenant called me. I went in there. She showed me some letters. It's not a violation. I'm just giving you a warning, and you need to go and see what the tenant, do some inspection and send me a report. So I said, okay, so you say this is not a violation? They said, no, it's not a violation. It's a warning. So that's what that is.
Okay. And so just just want to tell you what the warning says. The warning has two instructions and comments, two violations. One, it says plumbing in all dwellings, water lines, plumbing fixtures, vent drains shall be properly installed, functional, and properly maintained. And then it says treatment of organic growth caused by water intrusion must be treated and maintained by an outside party to ensure proper maintenance and care, and has been done. Proof of treatment must be provided by a third party and not home treatment provided by the owner. Failure to do so can result in citations being issued.
Yes, so Your Honor, so with regard to that, I mean, I asked him, I said, this is very general stuff. If you are citing me specifically saying that, I have a broken plumbing line, show me what, you didn't say anything about anything. There's no plumbing issue. He didn't mention any of that. And I felt that he was just reciting to me what she recited to him. And I took him to task about that. But, if you're going to write that,
I mean, he went far enough to write this warning letter about it took him to task. Listen, so this is the issue, right? And I don't want to delay or prolong this case. She hasn't paid rent in January. She's saying there's issues. I have a code enforcement lease warning letter. I do have photographs of some mold growth. Mr. Cobb, I will frank with you, the mold growth, I've seen worse, obviously. I've seen a lot of things. It's not terrible, but I do understand if there's intrusion. I do understand some of the intrusion happened earlier in the lease, but there still seems to be some evidence of that intrusion, at least and far in January. Everybody want to raise their hands. And so I guess really what I'm going down to, I don't know if I have enough to deem the property uninhabitable, at least based upon the photographs that I've seen. But I can justify giving an offset in lieu of the conditions. And I just, I know Ms. Cobb, you had your hand up. I'll let you go first, and then I'll final with Mr. Obeng.
Just to be very transparent, I'm further away from my daughter's school. I actually have to transfer her because I'm further away. This is not a warning that he was given. He was given a warning after the 12 days went by. He's now given a final. I received a call from code enforcement today. He said that Mr. Obeng called him. His exact words was, he cursed me out.
But
And
he said he took him to task.
yes, so these are not, and I actually had a mold specialist come in. I paid $495 out of my pocket. It doesn't have anything to, I've been, like I said, I've been very patient. I submitted text messages and everything. It's been throughout the time frame. In a recording with him and I, when I was recording the home, because I was worried about rodents, not ever thinking I would experience anything as far as mold. I haven't ever experienced it. A lot of the photos, I did not realize the mold was there, but my room had a restroom in it. So this was right by my bed. So I didn't realize this because he painted over the mold, and the sticker came up eventually. And as my dad was looking, he said, that's mold. That is black mold. That is deadly. So at that point, that's when we started noticing more. But I noticed I would clean surfaces. I kept the home in very good condition. And as far as him mentioning, like I said, I'm further away from my daughter's school. I'm driving her back and forth to school due to me being further away. But I've given him so many opportunities. I wanted to be, reasonable with him even after court.
Where is this mold located?
It was in my bathroom, in my room, less than 5 feet away from my head. The laundry room.
I'm gonna be honest with you, because I do this a lot. You understand? I've seen mold where mold has literally encompassed the whole property, right? The mold you're showing me, I'm gonna be frank. It's not that I don't think that it's mold. I don't know that the location and the amount of mold that you've shown me is justification to deem.
I have tests. I have a test.
I understand you have a test. And I'm also giving it the eye test, and I'm also looking at the documentation you provided me, including the warning letters from code enforcement. I'm not saying that code enforcement didn't ultimately follow back up with him, but I'm looking at the letter that you supplied. It did say a warning, but it did identify problems. So, Mr. Obeng, she gonna get some credit because you got problems, documented problems, right? So that's an issue. Now, let me ask you this, Ms. Cobb, how big's the property?
It's a 2-level. I'm not sure of the square footage.
Is there more than one bathroom in the property?
There's one in my room, there's one downstairs, and there's one in the hallway that my daughter used.
Okay.
But yes, I kept the home very clean. So a lot of
I'm not saying you dirty. Mold don't generally come from people being dirty. It usually comes from moisture, right? So it had nothing really. to do with you. Now, if it was roaches and rats, maybe we'd be a different situation, but that's not what we hear about. Right. So I'm going to give you some consideration for that, but you've got a two-story property where there's some mold that, yes, can be in the whole property. I understand you smelling it and getting it. But again, from the totality of what I've seen, I haven't seen enough to deem the property uninhabitable where there wouldn't be a justification for any rent due. And as I mentioned to Mr. Obing, he didn't even ask for any future rent. He just only asked for essentially $1,500. But I am more than going to give you credit for the amount that you've spent on this test, because it was that test confirmed, which was ultimately supported by code enforcement, which you got a mold problem. How bad the mold problem is, that's something you're going to have to get remediation. Get somebody here to do remediation and determine exactly how big it is. Hold on, Mr. Obing. So I'm going to give her credit of at least 500 regarding the test that she has associated with what's going on. As far as anything else with the property, the most I can do here, I'm just looking at it.
And can I ask you something, Your Honor? I'm not sure how the eviction could process if I'm no longer there.
Well, let me be honest with you. Your presence in the property is not the final say about whether or not you're occupying it. If you do not give someone the key, if you have not let them know that you're gone, then you're still technically in possession. I try to remind that to folks because this happens a lot. People are like, I don't like you. I don't like you. You didn't do what I said. I'm going to leave. I'm going to tell you I'm going to leave, but I'm not going to give you the key because people change their minds. So, it becomes problematic when say I'm gone, but nobody really knows that you're gone, right? Because they don't have the key. People tell me they're gone, but they say, well, I got a couple other things still left in the property. That happens more often than not. And I'm not saying that you're not gone, but if you haven't given the key and he doesn't have possession and you don't have clear evidence that you've done so, then I have to say that you still have possession. Now,
there's photos of the home completely vacated.
Now, are you gone now? You're gone now?
Yes, I've been gone. I uploaded photos of the home condition when I left in the portal.
Well, I don't see that, but what I can do is I can give an immediate writ, so there isn't any additional 5. Well, he wouldn't get the 5 days anyway because he didn't ask for it. But I'm going to again reduce the amount that he ultimately is looking for, and I'm going to ultimately reduce it by $700. That's not only for the cost of to get the mold test, which confirm what you had, but also your inconvenience associated with everything else. But again, this is still a 2-story property. It's 1 month of rent. And again, code enforcement, I've seen them say properties being uninhabitable. It doesn't say that on the citation. So it'll be $700 minus that $500, which will ultimately be an $800 judgment. $800 judgment against you. I'll do an immediate writ of possession since you're not there. And Mr. Obing, you can try to get the property. Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I think I haven't had the opportunity to rebut some of the stuff she's saying here. And I think you are giving her way too much credit. Which she has not told you exactly where this mold is located. And I'm telling you, Your Honor, that the mold is in what she presented, is in the cabinet. And according to our lease, she is responsible for maintaining properly, ventilating the house, properly cleaning the house. If she fails to do that,
stop it. You're digging yourself a hole. You're digging yourself a hole. Don't do it. Don't do it. I've explained very clearly why I'm doing it. If you listen, then I took all the evidence that you guys have taken and made a reason why I'm giving the order I'm giving. I just didn't pull it out the air. So,
Your Honor,
it's okay. Listen, it's okay. It's okay. You're going to get rid of
possession. If I may just say this last thing.
Last thing, sir. Absolutely.
Please. I want you to know that she asked me to get out of the lease, notwithstanding what she's telling you right now. She had a third party who has nothing to do with this come to the house, call me and say, I love your house, I want to rent it, in which she was very interested in.
How is that relevant? Listen, see, this is what I mean, Mr. Obey. None of that's relevant to the condition of the property as far as the mold and the code enforcement deeming that there's issues with that. That has nothing to do with that at all. That's totally separate. You're going to get your writ. You're going to get a money judgment. She obviously had issues, which was confirmed by code enforcement. There's nothing else to say. I'm very reasonable. All right. Thank you so much. I'm going to get you guys a copy of the order. It'll be an immediate writ. And so you'll have it be able to access it essentially tomorrow. as well as an $800 money judgment plus court costs. All right. But that'll be the order of the court, and you both are free to go. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Your
Thank you,
Honor.
Your
Have a
Honor.
blessed day.
Absolutely. You too. All right, folks.